shit. You don't like me and we both know that. Can we just pretend we're grown-ups for a minute? You said you're sorry, but talk is cheap. You got away with it too easily. Can we just pretend we're grown-ups for a minute? You've been a mean girl since 95, that's your way. Taste of your own medicine, and I eat your heart out. Your ex-man is with me now. You've been talking shit behind my back just to feel good about yourself, but he's with me now. We're kissing on your old couch. I know you're trying to feel better, 'cause you're being bitter on your own. Eat your heart out. Heard you moved on, well sure thing. I bet you're still thinking about him. Alone in your bed, it's getting hard. Let him go. You think that you're living, eat your heart out. Your ex-man is with me. Talking shit behind my back just to feel good about yourself, but he's with me now. We're kissing on your old couch. I know you're trying to feel better, 'cause you're being bitter on your own. Eat your heart out. Hell, you had your chance and you blew it. So don't come round here acting stupid. Don't come round here acting foolish. Don't come round here acting all innocent. I know about the games you play. Well, you should get a taste of your own medicine, and I eat your heart out. Your ex-man is with me now. You've been talking shit behind my back just to feel good about yourself, but he's with me now. We're kissing on your old couch. I know you're trying to feel better, 'cause you're being bitter on your own. Eat your heart out. You came along, couldn't look away. Somehow you turned my life completely upside down. And since you've been gone, there's no peace of mind. A foolish heart and healing thought I would be fine. No matter where I lay my head, another town, another bed. No matter what I do, I'm still gonna be dreaming of you. No matter who I try to love, it's always you I'm thinking of. No matter what I do, I'm still gonna be dreaming of you. Your silhouette dancing on the wall. I try to close my eyes, but then I hear you call. Yeah, your perfume that I still can scent. But every time I think these scars about to mend. No matter where I lay my head, another town, another bed. No matter what I do, I'm still gonna be dreaming of you. No matter who I try to love, it's always you I'm thinking Picture in my closet, it's gathering dust right now, and the edges have been folded once or twice. It doesn't look the same no more, 'cause the sun has made it pale. I used to have it hanging on my wall some time ago. A picture of you. You're standing by that window, playing your guitar, and if I close my eyes, I can almost hear your song. A picture of you. A picture of you. And I remember every day that I spent with you, the look you had upon your face when I said goodbye. I don't know why I let you go, but I was young and dumb, and all that I have left from that time is a picture of you. I could talk to you for hours, and we stay up all night. And when morning came, we made breakfast together. I don't know why I threw away what we had. What's wrong with me? I don't know why I threw it all away.
but I've been too caught up to see it, baby. We can have it all if I just could get myself together. I'm not wasting another minute. If it goes up in flames, I'll take the pain. If I never try to get it, I can just forget it. I'm done playing the waiting game. I'm so done. I'm all done playing the waiting game. Baby, like the stars, I've been a million miles away, but you've been in my heart, somewhere down all this time anyway. I'm not wasting another minute. If it goes up in flames, I'll take the pain. If I never try to get it, I can just forget it. I'm done playing the waiting game. I'm so done. I'm all done playing the waiting game.
People knew her by her will, to make it whatever she put her mind to. Late night hours up the hill, serving coffee with strangers, talking about revenue. She kept dreaming of a world big enough for everyone, but she knew it must rain before it grows. She kept dreaming of the day butterflies survived the wheel, even though she got knocked down and never showed. Dear Lily, where'd you go? Where's your heart at? Why'd you fall back? Lately, your afterglow is shining brighter, waking up uneasy air. I remember her in songs, decades old, but it doesn't matter. Stumble across old memories, try to recall before they all shatter. She kept dreaming of a world big enough for everyone, but she knew it must rain before it grows. She kept dreaming of the day butterflies survived the wheel, even though she got knocked down and never showed. Dear Lily.
Hey, do you remember 20-something years ago? Those cold nights in December, and the sound of the falling snow, the fireplace warming us, the VHS movie bus, your old broke down touring bus, not a single cloud in the sky. If I could go back in time, I'd pack my bags right now. If I could play back rewind, I wouldn't think twice. A pair of jeans and a dusty shirt, we didn't have a dime. No, you and me were poor as dirt. All we had was I was tired.
I was lost in a city dream, and I was at home again beside the stream. Then you walked past me, and you saw me and smiled. I will never forget the first time when I saw you. I thought I lost my mind. Blue and faded was blown away and left behind. I hope you'll always be around, even if I fail. You are like a summer breeze that I must inhale. Is it possible for us to feel this way forever? Loving you has never felt more right. Woke up lonely, and for you there is nothing in this world I wouldn't do. I would walk 1,000 miles just to see you.
I got this picture in my closet. It's gathering dust right now, and the edges have been folded once or twice. Doesn't look the same no more, 'cause the sun has made it pale. I used to have it hanging on my wall some time ago, a picture of you. You're standing by that window, playing your guitar, and if I close my eyes, I can almost hear a song. A picture of you. A picture of you. And I remember every day that I spent with you, the look you had upon your face when I said goodbye. I don't know why I let you go, but I was young and dumb, and all that I've left from that time is a picture of you. I could talk to you for hours, and we stay up all night, and when morning came, we'd make breakfast.
I remember every word you said, every coffee in your tiny bed. If I could have another chance to be there, I would do it all again. But I lost you, so there's only so much that I can do, like take down all the pretty pictures, put away that old guitar you played for me, forget the way you used to hold me, baby, and set all the memories when you used to write me poetry. You would tell me about my history. If I could have another chance to be there, I would really hear you out.
It's the feeling I imagine from us to nothing. There's something missing you stole, and it's a little tragic. I know I'm better off living without your love, but time and again my thoughts go back to when we were crazy kids with a lot of feelings. I'm too proud to beg and too dumb for stealing. When I rode with you, it was all downhill, and losing control was a part of that thrill. A part of me still wants you. A part of me still wants you. I've got my own place, an extra toothbrush as well, for someone you don't know of. But these are long days, and even though you can tell, there's something I can't get over. I know I'm better off living without your love, but time and again my thoughts go back to when we were crazy kids with a lot of feelings. Too proud to beg and too dumb for stealing. When I rode with you, it was all downhill, and losing control was a part of that thrill. A part of me still wants you. 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 We were crazy kids with a lot of feelings. Too proud to beg and too dumb for stealing. But when I rode with you, it was all downhill, and losing control was a part of that thrill. A part of me still wants you. A part of me still wants you. A part of me still wants you. A part of me still wants you.
I'm waiting at the doorstep to finally home. I've been gone for too long. Standing here a while just to take it all in. Radio's playing our song. Then you stood there smiling at me, as so many times before. I'll never wanna be away, leave you again. You are all I want and more. It's true.
Another week, another day, another hour since you went away, and so cliche you didn't say goodbye. I've been waiting for so long, still debating what went wrong. All by myself, you pulled away, you couldn't say what we were struggling with. It's one of us, it's obvious, but who's to really blame? There's an aching in my heart, all the questions that I've got are keeping me up at night. With all these things I'm going through, I still wish the best for you. You're not the only one to love. There's plenty more under the sun. You'll find the one you need. Reach your total fantasy. You go out and get him, and I will find a better you. Ooh, a better you. Ooh. And so it seems I never dreamed that I would figure out that there are things that kind of bring you to a screeching stop. There's no way to save your heart, you just gotta play your part, and it will turn out alright. With all these things I'm going through, I still wish the best for you. You're not
I pull into your driveway, it's a Saturday night. You look like $1,000,000 wearing that dress I like. You're smiling, but there's something missing in your eyes. Girl, I can tell that you have something on your mind. But I will make you forget all your sorrows. Let go like there's no tomorrow. Let's have a drink, just relax, all your problems will fade. If you're ready for a good time, count on me. There's a party in the backyard, dance your problems away. I'm all about the good vibes, I know you're all about the good vibes. Do you know how much I love you, wanna see you smile? Where's that happy girl that I know with a heart on fire? I'll do anything to make it fine, but I can tell that you have something on your mind right now. But I will make you forget all your sorrows. Let go like there's no tomorrow. Let's have a drink, just relax, all your problems will fade. If you're ready for a good time, count on me. There's a party in the backyard, dance your problems away. I'm all about the good vibes, I know you're all about the good vibes. We are all about the good vibes. We are all about the good times. Dancing till it feels alright, all night. We're all about the good vibes, all about the good vibes. I will make you forget all your sorrows. Let go.